Join me in painting some cute drinks. While I'm more known for painting cute animals, I wanted to push things a little further, so my challenge here was to make inanimate objects cute. And you might be asking why I keep wanting to paint cute things. Well, the short answer is because I really enjoy it, which in itself is enough of a reason. But the long answer is that I find it to be a fun challenge to simplify and exaggerate shapes and see how that can make things cuter. I have to admit that in this case it was a bit tricky, considering that cups and glasses are already quite simplified as is. Therefore, the focus landed on the colours as well as trying to give each of the vessels an expression and thus a personality. My approach to this image also differs a bit from my usual workflow. It might not be unusual for me to create a lot of thumbnails on one page, but a lot of the times I'll end up copying each of the items into a new canvas and paint them individually. And the final composition would then be put together in Photoshop. Though this time round, I felt like painting all of them in one canvas. This did of course create a few different challenges because I very quickly exceeded the number of layers available to me in Procreate. Of course, those issues are easily solved, so instead of having several layers for each of the vessels, I only had one for each colour as well as individual layers for transparencies and one for the halftone brush I used for the colour variations. The time-lapse might make it seem as though I finished these drinks really quickly and even painted them in just one sitting. Sadly, that couldn't be further from the truth. All in all, the illustrations took me 18.5 hours, which was spread out over multiple weeks. And when taking this long, there's always this fear that the image won't have a uniform style or look, though luckily that wasn't the case here. Let's talk about style for a bit. I've often heard artists claim they don't have an art style, and when creating they might be focusing on finding their uniform and overall style. But in my experience, an art style is something that happens over time, and absolutely everything you've learned and all the experimentations you've done will have an impact on your overall style. While a style should be uniform for a series of images, it's something that's fluid and it keeps changing over time. It's also known to change slightly depending on things like what topics you're working on and what mediums you're using. A style also consists of many different parts. This can include things like line quality, shape language, color usage, the way you add lighting, and how you simplify your work, and so on. But at the end of the day, having an art style doesn't mean that your artwork will look exactly the same at all times, but that people can recognize who made it. So if you're trying to develop your own art style, then know that chances are you already have one. It might not be super consistent, and you might not be able to recognize it yourself, but it's there. You have an art style. While I could easily have filled all of these cups and glasses with similar liquids and so on, I selfishly wanted more of a colourful selection of drinks. I also wanted to try to give them slightly different expressions, but I have to admit that some of them might be a bit too similar. Thank you so much for watching. More process videos are up on my YouTube channel, and you can find more of my work on my website and on social media.